The Mandela Effect is a phenomenon where a large group of people share a false memory of an event or detail that never happened or exists. This collection or this collective misremembering is often explored in relation to metaphysics and alternative theories, but it is fundamentally a psychological phenomenon with a well-established explanations in memory formation and social psychology. This is the elaboration. What is the Mandela effect? So it's basically a shared false memory where many people believe an event occurred when it did not, or that a detail was different than what it actually is. So examples are the most famous example is the belief that Nelson Mandela, former president of South Africa, aka another scam man, he's the biggest criminal on this continent. Nelson Mandela, there's a belief that Nelson Mandela died in prison in the 1980s. Yeah, but in reality, he was released in 1990 and died in 2013. Other examples include the Monopoly man that you see on your screen wearing a monocle, the spelling of the book, the Bernstein Bears, and the name of a cereal being Fruit Loops. So, in different times of this reality, people have a memory of the Monopoly man having the monocular, and I have a memory from my personal experience of this nigga not having that monocular on his eye. So, I also have this thing of when we talk about football, me and my mates, I mentioned a certain goal that occurred by a certain player. So I'll give you an example. For many people, they would say Pele won like 3 World Cups, but for people in his time, they would consider it only 2 World Cups because that's what they saw. You see, but in our reality, it's three. You see, so we have that debate with me and my mates, and also this Fruit Loops. The Fruit Loops logo is different from the Fruit Loops logo that certain people experienced. So now the psychological explanations of this weird scenario is confabulation. The brain can sometimes fill in gaps in a memory or create false details to make a story seem more complete. That's confabulation. So I could be talking bullshit. They could be talking bullshit because our minds and our brains are just, our thought patterns are creating and holding on to a specific memory, you see. And we're both hold on to two different memories. It's like the apartheid video I made where I said apartheid wasn't real. It was real for certain people in their minds, but in my mind, it's not real. It still is coexisting, but just psychologically in the modern times. But visually, it's just not there yet because it's not in our mindset. We don't hold that focus of each other. We don't hold that focus of hate for each other anymore that we do. That's why it doesn't appear in our reality right now. This is why a lot of boomers struggle to fit in this society because they're still stuck in the past. They're still stuck in their reality. This is probably the Mandela effect. This is like lasting effects of the Mandela effect. People being born in different realities. Is that's probably the reason why there's a lot of family members, a lot of households who don't clash with one another. A lot of siblings who were born in the 80s don't clash with siblings born in the 2000s because of certain information that was changed. Programs were changed growing up. Schools were different to how schools are now, but they're still the same institution. Vice versa for a lot of things like jobs, vice versa for a lot of things like entertainment. Things are different now. It's like we're almost living in another reality, but it's the same reality. You see what I'm saying? But is it us creating a false gap in our memory? False details? Now, the misinformation effect of the Mandela effect is it's exposure to inaccurate information. So misinformation effect is exposure to inaccurate information which can influence our memories, leading us to remember something differently than how it actually happened. So, again, these two examples, the monopoly man on the left, monopoly man on the right, the social construct of this world has pushed in misinformation so many years that it has processed and ingrained in our memory as a holding factor of a certain seed. So I could remember this guy as a molecule because they have given me that misinformation. But I could also remember the guy with no molecule because they've also given me that misinformation. But so you can see both parties are the same. Both parties have been misinformed by the system in the matrix about how two versions of something can appear so different, but they're actually the same thing. But because of the misinformation effect, we have implanted certain frequencies and seeds of memories about these things. You see how crazy the mind works. Social influence is when many people share the same false memory and discuss it. It can create a sense of shared reality, make it harder to discern the true facts. So, growing up in school, we grow up with certain same patterns and teachings. That's why we have this sort of the same patterns and behaviors, the NPCs. You see what I'm saying? The social influence has made them perform all the same way. That's why they're very predictable. You see, because of these misinformation effects, which lead to a social influence, because human beings are social creatures. We can't operate alone. We have to have a sense of belonging in a certain group or family or partnership or relationship. It's just the way we're built. You could say it's almost the way God made us. You see. So through the social influence, we're programmed into still living in these illusions of there's this monopoly and there's that monopoly. You see what I'm saying? But now the metaphysical interpretations, some people believe the Mandela effect is evidence of alternative realities, glitches in the matrix, or shifting timelines. However, these are speculative ideas without scientific support. But we know science is bullshit. We know science is a man-made construct that's also been pushed to manipulate the masses. Metaphysics, I'm not pushing it to be the truth, but it is the facts of what it is we're seeing constantly in our construct of this matrix world. Now, in terms of the Mandela effect, we could possibly say that we are experiencing two alternative realities based off age and timelines, but we can also say that it could be glitches in the matrix or shifting timelines. The debate is arguably left or right, but the main thing is that we're both experiencing shifts in both our realities. So now it makes you think, oh, does the reality we're living in right now, is it real? Because it could be a false memory for certain people in the other future realities. It's crazy, man.